Welcome back to Masterpiece Tarot. My name is Tala, and I am here to bring you timeless messages to help guide you on the journey of awakening. And if you are here, trust you're meant to be. I'd like to thank Spirit for helping to bring through messages um, from the divine. Really appreciate the guidance that we get. And for this first reading, I would like to ask Spirit to help me and perhaps us all collectively understand something. And that something is, I actually have a specific question, and maybe some of you all can relate. I did a read earlier today, and I posted it to my channel, and it seems like it it somehow got removed. It fell off. I made a mistake and it wasn't up there. So what I'm wondering is, is that something that was meant to happen, or was it truly, something that wasn't meant to happen? Like, would it be better to leave the reading up? And so I don't even think it's necessary for me to tell Spirit what the content of the message was. Um, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's something that we can easily get through tarot readings. But just for the sake of um, yeah, I don't want to create a bias. I'm really and truly interested to hear what message comes through on this question. So, what can we know about, backtracking? When we have an intention to do something and it doesn't work out the way that we expect, or there's something that happens, like a video is suddenly not there that you know that you posted. What can we know about this situation? All right, I'll cut the deck and we'll just jump into it. I'm just going to do a 4-card spread. Okay, first thing is the situation, an opportunity, a barrier, and an action to take. Okay, and then we can get clarifiers. So the situation, Queen of Swords. All right, somebody's speaking the truth. That's a situation. Queen of Swords speaks the truth. She is ethical. She's interested in, what's right and what's wrong. She will, use her sword if she needs to. But as a feminine, she prefers to be probably a little bit more nurturing and receptive than taking big, strong actions to cut people. Probably prefer not to do that so often. Opportunity, judgment. Yeah, so nice card in this placement because it reflects exactly what we're doing here by asking this question. The opportunity that we see is this woman is communing with Spirit, and she's sort of looking to the higher power um, to to gain knowledge, some information, insights that would help her to make the best decision. So there's this sense of awakening with the Judgment card, and this could be an opportunity. Okay, so if this message is resonating for you, and you are somebody who, I'll just be completely honest, sometimes I have these negative reactions, and I will say reaction. It's not so much a thoughtful response. I react sometimes in an angry way, even when I notice that a video, something like that has happened. And so this is a cool message because it kind of reminds us that it's okay to take this pause, whether you react first, like I did in the case of this particular incident, which is why I'm doing this reading, or if you thoughtfully respond, there's always an opportunity in these types of situations where something funky happens with your video, for example. There's always an opportunity to take a pause, check in with spirit, with God, your higher self, and try to see with spiritual eyes. You know, we're all out here learning lessons. Yeah, all right, and then let's look here now at the challenge. Seven of Wands. Yeah, somebody's feeling super defensive. Yeah. So, just using myself as an example, which I don't normally do, but I think this is a good opportunity to do that. You know, there is a tendency sometimes uh, in a situation like this where something happens outside of your control to feel like you want to defend your position, like, well, darn it, I put that up there, that should be my video, and I posted that, and you know, I mean, you know, and in this, I'll speak from experience, I'm going to be really frank, it's easy to spin out. I mean, she looks very peaceful if you see her, to be able to maintain that sense of equanimity, right? Approaching all situations with the same kind of evenness and attitude. It's not always easy to maintain, but this card reminds us that it's possible. It's probably a good idea. And it really backs up this idea about taking the pause. This is like the opportunity, the positive aspect, and then this is sort of in the traditional card, you know, the guy is standing there and he's got his wand across his body, and there are a bunch of other wands, and he's like on a raft, and the water's kind of choppy, and you know, that's the feeling that this card evokes for me when I see it. Obviously, this is a really different way of handling the same type of energy. She's really centered, she's grounded. But the whole idea is the same. There's a need to defend oneself in some way, protect oneself. Yeah, self-protection. So that's the challenge, is maintaining that centeredness and balanced mindset. And let's talk about an action. What can we do in this situation? Do we repost the video? Do we not? Do we just think about it? What can you tell us about an action to take? Eight of Swords. Tie yourself up. No, I don't know. Well, for starters, you can take off the blindfold. And here, I think what's depicted in this image to me is there's a woman here and she's looking in a mirror, and she's not actually tied up and she doesn't actually have a blindfold on, but there's something about her reflection. There's something about the way she's seeing herself that is making her feel this way. And it's a shadow. Something has happened in the past, or some kind of ancestral lineage or something. And so I think what Spirit's saying is, number one, look within, look in the mirror, and you will find a lot of answers within yourself. It's not as much about putting the video up or not putting the video up, but why did you react the way that you did? In my case, I'll be completely honest, I'm using myself as an example just to give you an example. I won't do this very often, okay? But I think it stems from a feeling of a loss of control. Yeah, a loss of control. So That's the root of it. And by looking in the mirror, it becomes possible to trace that back to other times in life where things feel out of control, and you respond in a similar way, like in anger or a sense of, what is the word? Indignant, angry. You know, you feel indignant about something. All right, we're going to get some clarifiers. So tell us a little bit here about the Queen of Swords. What can we know about this main card of the reading here? This is the situation card. We have a Queen of Swords, this truth teller. Okay, she's trying to juggle, keep something balanced. There's a Page of Pentacles. Somebody who's studying something in the material, and an Ace of Wands. And the Temperance Angel on the bottom of the deck. So the question we asked for the reading is, what can we know about the situation? You know, about the video. I think I like to read the cards this way. So this Queen of Swords here is looking at the events, right, leading up to this moment that we're inquiring about. The video, the new video that was created, that's represented by this Ace of Wands. This was a new creative endeavor, and the video itself was a new creation, right, with the Ace of Wands. And the video itself, the contents of it, and also the audience who's going to be watching that video, is represented by this Page of Pentacles. This is somebody looking at this pentacle in a new way, like a student would, trying to learn something, understand something, trying to gain some knowledge about something. And so that's who this Page of Pentacles is. That's what this represents here. And in light of this project and this young person and this little glitchy thing that's happened, the Queen of Swords is trying to understand, I think, number one, if she's staying balanced. Was it an act of divine intervention that the video disappeared? It's possible. She doesn't know for sure. On the other side of that is, it needs to be up. People need to see this video. I have to put it back up. Or, probably came down for a reason, I'm going to let it ride. Those are the two ends of the spectrum for our Queen of Swords here in this example. Yeah. So, we're trying to find a balance here. We're trying to find a balance. And that's that, okay? That's what the main energy of this reading is. What is the balance point here? What to do, if anything? What to do, if anything, regardless of the content of the video. Tell us more about judgment. This communing with the divine, receiving divine guidance, experiencing an awakening. All right. So we've got, okay. So we've got a page of swords, another page. This is another student, but this is a student in pursuit of truth and like intellectual pursuits. This could be like anything where you're speaking and writing, so the debate team or like, I don't know, stuff like that. The Empress. And a Three of Cups. All right, well, you know, what I'm getting here, let me look at these three cards here and this one. So this person here in the Judgment card, we've said that she is communing with the divine, with God, with spirit. She's really taking time to feel into the energy, explore it, receive it, witness it. And those are like divine feminine qualities. Being in a receptive mode, where you're not actually doing a whole lot except using your senses maybe to perceive what's happening. You know, the Empress is also a card of the divine feminine. And so in this card, I feel like this energy to do something, right? To get angry, put the video right back up immediately. This is like do it energy. It's more on the masculine side if we're like talking about a divine masculine. But this here is like more like divine feminine energy of receiving. So that's one thing that I'm getting there. Another thing I'm getting with the Page of Swords is that we were just saying this is somebody who's learning about the mind and intellectual pursuits. And although it's not really a mainstream topic of discussion, though it has become more so in recent years, you know, it can be said or studied. I mean, the dynamics between masculine and feminines can definitely be something that can be looked at. Like if you look at it through the lens of like Chinese medicine, for example, or Chinese philosophy, you'll get yin and yang. Yin being the feminine quality, yang being masculine, but it's way past that. You could take those two words out of it and just say light and dark and on down the line with these opposites, right? Because that philosophy works with sets of opposites. And so this is something we can look at, and this is a way that we can look at ourselves and our own behavior and modulate, or look at our behavior and ask ourselves, how can I change my behavior so that it's more balanced? Right, going back to our little balance card over here. How can I, and so that's what this Page of Swords represents. Page of Swords is this person receiving divine guidance and messages. And I feel too, like with both of these individuals on this card, you know, don't they look proud? Like they feel good about themselves. They have good self-esteem. Like they feel good about this energy that they're embodying, right? And so good, in fact, that it makes them want to have a party and celebrate. They're feeling like, all right, yeah, I'm doing the right thing here. I am going to the divine with this problem that I'm having. And I'm going to try to sort it out. So this is the opportunity in the circumstance in question, okay, around the video, the disappearing video. All right, now we have our challenge. Feeling defensive. The challenge is also maintaining a sense of centeredness and balance, even as you are defending and protecting yourself. But the Seven of Wands is not all negative. There's actually a couple of positive qualities about it. I'm going to try to look. I'm forgetting what it is. Yeah, it's having a conviction about something. Okay, that's what it is. It's having conviction, believing in something. You know, that fiery sense of this is what's right. I hold this close to my heart as a truth. You know. Okay, let's see. Oh, now we go to the Eight of Wands. Yeah. Picking up a little momentum, we have an Ace of Cups. All right. Well, if we're using our example of the computer glitch today, we have an individual who's working hard at staying centered. Why? Well, because the energy is starting to speed up and move faster. Why? Because when we have a conviction and we believe we know something in our heart, we feel strongly about something. You know, sometimes it comes from the heart, but sometimes it's our ego, okay, our idea of how we think things should be or the amount of control we think we should have. Ego is the way we think about ourselves, the way we think other people perceive us. That's ego. And ego can sometimes create imbalances. If we're too much in our ego, we then fail to see other opportunities, like this opportunity to go to God, for example, and receive some kind of divine wisdom or guidance that we ourselves might not have come up with on our own. Right? So, and why would we want to do that? Well, because it's an act of self-love, and when we love ourselves, we're better able to love other people. And with all that being said, it's okay to take some time to integrate a lesson such as this one. And it might even be necessary. Yeah. So this is the challenge. The challenge is approaching this whole situation through a loving energy, like using your heart rather than your head, I guess is what I'd say. You know, staying in your heart center, getting out of your head where there's all that ego. Get into your heart and look at, she has her hands in this prayer right over the heart. And it's not an accident that when we, you know, pray, like in yoga and stuff, we put our hands right over our heart because our heart is what connects us to the divine. It's the center of our chakra system. It is, because we have 3 chakras above it, then we have our heart, and 3 below it. So it's the center of our being, and we stay centered. There's a need to stay centered, right, when we're dealing with this type of situation. And now we're looking at an action to take, and we have this looking in the mirror, I would say, is what this card says to me. A lot of times it's about being all, you know, it's about being trapped and imprisoned. But that's a victim mentality. And so this is a much more empowering way of looking at the same scenario. It's like, what can I transform within myself so that I don't have to feel like this, so that I don't have to think like this? It's ongoing work. You can get really good at knowing how to do it and still need to practice doing it. So don't even think twice about that, collective. Just keep doing it. All right, we are going to clarify this Eight of Swords. What you got, Spirit? A Queen of Cups. Oh, loving the self. Yeah. Big cup of loving for yourself, because, you know, if you're going to look in the mirror and be that brave, then realize that is just an act of